take the Quiver of Alacrity. Thanks for watching. No, I'm kidding. Welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about the 10th anniversary reward items that you can get. Not reward items, but the items that the freebies that you get for the ticket. Now, when you log in, you might find a ticket in your inventory, DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online 10th anniversary token, and if you don't see it, it's probably in your green bag. So don't panic, just look in your green bag, it should be there. Even if it's in your bag or you can't find it in your inventory, just go over here to House P and talk to the anniversary Djinn, and if it's somewhere in your inventory or in a bag, he will, it'll pop up when you click on the item. It'll just, appear here in the barter box. Also, it's kind of a madhouse in House P right now, so, if you go and you get too laggy, you can always change your instance here just by selecting the little arrow on your map. If you go to an instance 1 and this is like a bazillion people, just switch over to another instance where there's less people and it'll be less laggy. Alright, so there's lots of items on this list, and I'm going to go over them sort of one at a time and give you my thoughts on how valuable that choice is. So, if you've been playing this game for a while and you know all these items, you know where they come from, you know how easy they're to get, then this video isn't going to be too valuable for you. But if you're a little bit newer and you're not much of a raider, etc., you might not realize, like some of these items are really, really hard to come by, and some of them are really, really easy to come by. And I want to make sure that I'm steering you away from the ones that are really easy to get. Okay, now, when I opened the video, I said take the Quiver of Alacrity. That is my conclusion. That is the most valuable item on the list, and I'm going to explain why. But I am going to talk about, there's some other valuable items on the list too, so I'm not throwing them all under the bus. But if you're not familiar with the Quiver, here is why it's so valuable. It is one of the most sought after items in the game by every class, especially for people who like to TR, because, and you at face value, it doesn't really look like a whole bunch. Range alacrity 10%. Okay, that's pretty cool, but what's the big deal? The big deal is that when you upgrade it, like I have one in my inventory already, it has striding 30%. Note that it doesn't have any minimum level, so that when you TR your tune and you go back to level 1, you now have striding 30% at level 1, which is totally awesome. Nobody likes to run around slow. So this item is just a fantastic item, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you take this if you don't have it, if you like to TR. Now, in order to upgrade it, you will need a Seal of the Black Abbot, which comes from the Abbot raid. But if you're not a raider, and that raid can be hard to find a good group for, that's okay. You can also get a Seal of the Black Abbot with a Tome of Legends or a complete Shield of Legends turn-in. And I'm talking about these. You get your Tome of Legend pages and your Shield of Legend fragments. You get all 8 pieces, you turn them into the guy in Upper Necro, and he gives you a list of rewards. Well, you can get a Seal of the Black Abbot there, and you can upgrade your Abbot raid items there, your heroic Abbot raid items, just by getting the seal from that route. But the seal is it's a pretty common drop in the raid as well. We do the raid every week, a couple of times, and we usually see 2-3 seals per run, but like I said, it can be really hard to find a good Abbot group. And usually when the Quiver drops in there, everybody's rolling on it, so it can be a very, very hard item to get. It's also not guaranteed on the 20th list, which makes it even more hard, or even harder to come by. So the Quiver of Alacrity is by far and above the winner, in my humble opinion. The next item on the list is Hellfire Crossbow. Do not choose this item. It's not that it's a bad item. I suppose it's a nice little repeater for level 4. It's just that it's a really, really easy item to get. It comes out of the Chronoscope raid. That's level 6 on normal, level 8 on elite. You can take, one of your epic tunes in there and go in there and just smash it. I think you're going to want to check my work on this, but I think it comes from the Blood Plate chest, but it might be... Actually, I think it might be the Razor Arm chest. It's not the end chest in any event. It's either Blood Plate or Razor Arm. You can just go in there and smash your way through that and just go, loot the chest, come out, rinse, repeat, and you should be able to farm one of those really easily if you like that item and you think you might want to get that. So don't take that. Mantle of the World Shaper and Voice of the Master. Do not take either of these. These are guaranteed in the end reward. Well, the Voice of the Master comes from the Thrennel Chain, and it's a great item. Awesome item. I mean, every tune should have this. It has 5 charges of spell absorption. It has plus 5% XP bonus. It's got a little set bonus if you wear with your Voice of the Master because you True Sing. These days, probably not worth wearing both of those, but it is a really nice item. I have one on all of my tunes, and it's great. If you ever need to, use it for spell absorption for whatever. I carry it even when I'm at level 30. But like I said, don't take it because it is guaranteed from Thrennel as an end reward. So just go run Thrennel. That's like a level 8 to 11 chain. It's easy to knock out. Get your Mantle of the World Shaper. Voices of the Master, also do not take this one. It is an awesome item, plus 5% XP bonus, good luck plus 1, so can be worth wearing for low levels, but guaranteed in the end reward from the Delira's Chain. So just go run 5 quests out there and get your Voice of the Master. Guaranteed on the list. Great item, definitely not worth taking from the anniversary event. Belt of Brute Strength. This is a phenomenal item. Just beautiful. Level 9. Strength 6, Greater False Life. We do have the new loot system now, though, so I'm not sure how this is going to stack up to what you can randomly generate at level 9. I don't think it's going to still be this good. It's an awesome item from the Titan raid, which doesn't get run very often. Can be really hard to find, a Titan group. But the Titan raid is the kind of a raid that if you and a buddy are committed, you guys can go in and learn it, and you can two-man that raid. It's still a very rare drop, though. So, this is one that I still think the Quiver of Alacrity is a better choice, but this is going to be high up on the list of items that, other items that are comparable, like the belts from TOD, those are level 18. This is level 9. Strength 6, Greater False Life, that's pretty awesome. So, if for what, you already have a Quiver, or you just absolutely don't want a Quiver because you feel like you're never, ever going to TR, this is a pretty good choice. I still say go with the Quiver, though. You'll thank me later. Shattering Ring, also from the Titan raid. If this was 5 years ago, I would say take this, especially if you were like some kind of a tank or dodge build. But this ring doesn't stand the test of time very well. Dodge 6%, spot 13, minus 10 to move silently. There's random gen dodge items now. There's lots of places to get dodge, spot 13. I don't really feel like that's big of a deal. I mean, it's a decent item for level 9, don't get me wrong. But, I just think that those kind of stats are pretty easily available elsewhere. So I would avoid this choice. Again, if it was 5 years ago, I would say take this item. Or this would be really high on the list, but now it's pretty low on the list. Kundrak Delving Boots. This is a beautiful item. It is the lowest level freedom of movement item in the game. Level 9 boots, constant freedom of movement, awesome. That makes you immune to being held, for example. That makes you immune to slippery surfaces, for example. So grease, sleet storm, stuff like that. Great item. I mean, this is something I like to have on every tune. It comes from Von 6, Vaulted Knight, the Dragon Raid. It's a moderately rare drop, I guess, from the end chest. And then, you can get it on your 20th list. It's not guaranteed on your 20th list. So this is a great item. I mean, this would be, in the top 10 of my choices for items on this list. But, if you'd like to raid, I would just say, Von 6 is great XP. So you should, if you don't know that raid, learn it. Learn to run it because it's awesome XP, and then, eventually you'll get your boots. I think the Quiver of Alacrity is a superior choice to the Delving Boots, but the Delving Boots is, this is an awesome item. So, pretty high on the list. 7-fingered gloves. I think it's deceptively attractive This has been a sought after item, a highly, highly sought after item for a long time. And I just don't think that it stands the test of time that well. I mean, it is a good item for its level for sure, don't get me wrong. I mean, disable 11, open lock 11, but you can get other items with those stats at that level, probably higher now with the new random loot gen. The UMD 5 is really what the biggest selling point was this. So situationally, you know, if you needed to get a scroll off or something, that was nice. But there are other UMD items in the game, maybe not that high at level 9, but you know, there's definitely a lot more UMD items. You got tomes now too, so as attractive as this might seem to, like, if you were a little bit newer, especially if you're like on a wizard rogue or something, this can seem like, oh my god, this is an amazing item. I think it's going to be one of those items, like, you're going to use it for a couple levels, and then it's going to be a situational item for a few more levels, and then you're going to throw it back in the bank. So I just don't think it's really that great. Okay, next item is the Shining Crescents, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really know what the deal with this item is, because it looks like a quarterstaff when you equip it, but it says sickle. I mean, to me it doesn't look very impressive. People don't use sickles, not a lot of staff users. Bottom line is bunch better stuff on this list, but this does come from the Abbot raid, I'm sorry, the Titan raid. And you know, it's just not very impressive to me. Maybe I'm missing something. Next, Minos Legends. Awesome, awesome item. However, very easy to get. Do not take this item because it's very easy to get otherwise. If you're not familiar with it, you don't know where it comes from, you're going to collect your tapestries from the orchard, the heroic orchard. You get these 20 shreds of tapestries, you turn them into the dude in Upper Necro, and he gives you a list of like 8 different helmets to choose from, and Minos Legends is one of them. So do not choose it from this anniversary freebie list. Just go farm some tapestries out of orchards. You know, your friends and your guildies probably have tons of tapestries laying around, so you can bum some off of them or buy them on the auction house. Great item, don't take it from the list. Chaos Blade, this comes from the Demon Queen raid. This is a nice level 12 Kopesh. Seems like people aren't using Kopeshes as much these days. I'm not, you know, a melee kind of a person, so I can't really speak to like how awesome this is. It is a really cool cosmetic. It's like purpley looking, but you know, there's just so you have so many other options, and there's so much better stuff on this list. I would not take this. Marylyn Chain comes from Demon Queen raid again, and DR5 / good or lawful, not bad. Does have the Taint of Evil. If you get a negative level, if you're a good aligned character and you try to wear it. Seeker Shatter, you know, it's okay. Light armor, definitely better on this list though. I would not recommend taking this item. And you can probably find, you know, random gen armor these days that's considerably better, and get those stats elsewhere. Gauntlets of Eternity. This comes from the Reaver raid, the heroic Reaver raid in Giant Hold, and this was a really sought after item years ago, but it just doesn't stand the test of time in my opinion. It was great for healers, especially like clerics that like to turn undead, but I don't think it's a very attractive item by today's standards. I would not recommend taking it. The Reaver raid is very soloable. If you do want this item, just go solo that raid. The only really thing, you know, you're going to need to learn how to do the puzzle, but there are solvers online. You can easily take an epic tune in there. I mean, it can be soloed at level too. This is definitely a lot more work, but you could take an epic tune in there and easily solo that. And you know, if you're trying to get anything out of that raid, get it there. Don't take it from this list. Litany of the Dead is a beautiful trinket. Most notably because it gives you +1 profane bonus to all abilities. So profane bonus is going to stack with nearly everything. So this comes from the Abbot raid. When you upgrade it, I think it gives it 5 charges, if I remember correctly. Or no, it takes the Taint of Evil off of it. Shoot, now I can't remember. You're gonna want to check my homework. Um, I'll make a note in the video. So this is a really, really nice trinket, and this is definitely going to be high on the list of items to take. It is a rare drop from the raid. I mean, it is one of the more rare drops, it seems like. You know, and it's the kind of thing that when it does drop in the raid, everybody wants it. And like I already said, you know, it's a technically challenging raid, hard to find a good group, can be a pain in the butt. It's not guaranteed on the 20th list. You know, it can be there, but it's not guaranteed. You know, I know people that have run, you know, 100 abbots to get this. So this is definitely, you know, probably top 5 in this list, I'd say. It's a really nice item. Madstone Boo. It's a highly, highly sought after item for melees. I don't play melees, so I probably can't, you know, give you the sales pitch on this as much as a melee could, but I know that it has a proc on it that you know, the Madstone Rage effect has a chance to go off, and it's a stacking. I believe that's a stacking rage bonus. It's striding 20%, dex 4. Why it has potency on it is just kind of weird, but you definitely don't want this for any kind of a caster, because when that Madstone Rage procs on you, it prevents you from casting. So you know, don't think you want this on a caster because this has potency. You get potency elsewhere. I don't remember what the upgrade is for this item. I'll try to make a note in the video, but this is definitely a nice item. But I would not pick it because, like I said, you can go solo the Reaver raid. Take your epic level 2 in there and smash it. If you're not familiar with the Reaver raid, you might want to watch a video on how to run it, because there's certain things you want to know. It's not just go in there and Hulk smash it. It's there's a couple of things you got to do in order. Ring of Lies, also from the Reaver raid, has got some nice stats on it. Same thing though, just go knock out some Reaver raids if you really want this item. Do not take it from this list. Tharn's Goggles, beautiful, beautiful item, highly sought after. Even today, it's a pretty sought after item. This comes from Vision of Destruction. Great roguish kind of a, or range tune kind of a set of goggles, but do not take it. And the set bonus is pretty nice too. But do not take it, because Vision of Destruction is a highly soloable raid. You know, just like with the Reaver raid, take your epic tune in there. I mean, you can even solo at a level. It's a lot more work, but take your epic tune in there and you're just going to smash it. So if you want Tharn's Goggles, just go, you know, you can do solo. You can take your buddies in there. It might, you know, it might be a little bit of a farm. You know, it might be a little bit of a grind, but you know, if you run it every 3 days, you're going to eventually get it. So, beautiful item. Don't take it. Just go farm it. Death Nip. This is another item from the Tome of Legend turn-in. So you can farm those tome pages. It's definitely a neat item. There were some Death Nip builds back years ago. I don't think too many people use it these days. In any event, you can farm for those shield pages. Do not take it from this list. Levik's Defender. I don't know how sought after the shield is these days. It used to be years ago, but not so much anymore. This comes from the Heroic Hound of Zoriat raid, and you know, that's a raid that doesn't get run too often anymore. You get the legendary Hound of Zoriat. I don't think people are doing the Heroic Hound of Zoriat anymore, but pretty easy to shorthand it if you know how to do it. But it is a technically difficult raid, but because people are so over level, you know, it really takes it really cuts down on the error factor, because people are so over level and they're not going to die because some relatively low level beholders spawn. You know, when you're level 28, 30, those beholders aren't so scary. So I would not recommend it. It's not a bad shield, but I would just say go knock out some Heroic Hound of Zoriats. This is the kind of thing, like I said with Titan, like you could just grab a few friends and, you know, watch a video on how to do this, and you grab a few of your guildies and just start knocking out some hounds. It's a lot of fun to do it shorthanded, and you'd really learn a lot about the raid. And you know, you can take 4 or 5 people in there and cover all the bases pretty easily. And if you're at all epic levels, you should be just fine. Quiver. This is a beautiful dagger. Awesome, awesome dagger, but do not take it from this list because this is another Tome of Legend turn in. So just go farm your tome pages, bum some off your friends, buy some off the auction house, do the turn in, just get it from there. Don't get it from this list. Page 2. Staff of the Petitioner. Beautiful staff. Feels like there's not very many staff wielding casters these days. When this staff came out, it had things on it that were very, very hard to come by. I mean, like Enchantment Focus 2, Necro Focus 2, there were literally like a couple items in the game, maybe 3 items in the game that would have, Necro Focus 2. And at this level, I mean, this was just huge. Power store, minus 10% to your spell casting cost, spell penetration. The upgrade gives it potency and an implement bonus, I think. It's a beautiful staff, but when you're using a staff, you're sort of locked in. It's less versatile than if you're dual wielding scepters. You can just swap out one of the scepters situationally, or you find a nicer scepter, you can replace the one, as opposed to if you're staff, now you're locked into that with both hands. So it's a beautiful item. If this was 4 or 5 years ago, this would be really high on the list. But now, I don't think that I would recommend it. It's gorgeous, but I just don't think that. I think there are better choices. But if you really like it, it's not a bad choice. It's not a bad choice like taking the the repeater, the Hellfire crossbow. That would be a bad choice. Do not take that. Alright, moving on to Twin Blade. This comes from the Tome of Legends turn-in, so same as the others. Just go, do the turn-in. Don't get the item from here. Unwavering Ardency. I've never played a range tune, but I hear this is a pretty nice bow for its level. Comes from the Abbot raid. I don't know what the upgrade is. I'll make a note in the video. If you're a range tune and you really like this bow and you feel like you never want to learn the Abbot raid, it's not a bad option. I still think the Quiver or like the Litany is a better option. I definitely recommend those options before this, generally speaking, but you can make your own choice. I guess it's just not a bad choice. Divine Vengeance. You're like, what the hell? It's +5 cold iron? That's stupid. Well, in the hands of a paladin, it actually is a lot nicer. I think it's in the hands of a paladin. There's a lot more stuff that will show up when a paladin wields this. So, go on to the wiki. Maybe I'll try to splice something in here and show you what those stats look like. But it does come from Vision of Destruction, so just go farm it. Don't take it from this list. The Quarry Forged Dawson of Battle. This comes from Mindsunder and Inspired Quarter, and one of the things that confused me when I looked at this list is that it doesn't say Suppressed Power. Normally when you get this from Mindsunder, it says Suppressed Power, and it can be upgraded and improve. I think it replaces the Improved False Life with Superior False Life, and it gets Vitality 20 as well, so lots of hit points. It's a pretty nice Dawson for level 18. It is very pink, though. So some people don't like it because of that, but we got cosmetics these days, so I would just go farm Mindsunder for it. I would not recommend taking it from this list. Zakosian Ear Dweller. This is a really, really nice trinket. Intelligence 6, Spell Pen 3, Enchantment Focus 2, who cares about -7 to listen. Zakosian Spell Frenzy gives you like bonus. This still has the wrong text on it. It actually just gives you a psionic bonus to spell power for 1 minute, I think it's just a +25 bonus to psionic spell power for a minute, and then you get the little disease, and then when the disease germinates, you get the 3 worms that appear in your inventory, and you can eat the worms to regenerate a small number of spell points. So it's kind of a neat, quirky item. I do have a video about spell pen regeneration item or spell point regeneration items, so if you're not familiar with this item or how it works, I show and I talk about it more there. It's actually not a bad farm out of the Dreaming Dark quest, the final quest in the Dreaming Dark chain. There is a particular or particular optional, excuse me, that it drops relatively commonly from. So if you're not familiar with that optional, you look on my YouTube channel for a Dreaming Dark quest with Zekosi and Air Dweller optional. I would recommend just go farming this item if you really want it. Tobins Hammer. So this is supposed to be a really nice rune arm. I have never played an Artificer. But you're like, wait a minute, it shows that you have an Artificer symbol now. Good catch, but I'm about to TR into a Deep Gnome, and I used a couple +5 hearts to get 10 Artificer levels just so I could get Artificer past life. So I've never actually played an Artificer. This is the only time you'll ever see this tune as an Artificer, because it's going to be my third arty past life. Yay. Alright, so what's the deal with this? It's a relatively common drop from the Master Artificer raid. You know, you might see 1 or 2 of these drop every time you run it. I would recommend just go doing that quest and doing it. It's not a bad quest, not a bad raid. 3 quests to flag for it. And really, I think that I can't speak from experience, just from what I've heard. I believe that the real value comes from this item when it has been fully upgraded. There are 2 upgrades for it, and one of the upgrades gives that torque transform kinetic energy ability, which means when you get hit you proc spell points. Really, really awesome. But if you're going to get this item, you know, you'd really want to get the upgrades, which means you're going to have to go run the raids anyways. One of the upgrades comes from Lord of Blades, one of the upgrades comes from Master Artificer. So like I said, it's the upgraded version that makes it really valuable, and you're going to have to run the raid anyways to get that. So don't take it from this. If you want it, go run the quests, get your the raids, go get your Tobins Hammer, and keep running them until you get your upgrades. Not a lot of people play Artificers anymore, so like it seems like whenever I've done those, you know, either the upgrades, nobody even wants them, or there's like one arty in the group and everybody's like, well, just give it to the arty because he's the only one here. So if you have an arty, chances are if you join an MA or LOB group, you're going to be the only one there. It's going to be pretty easy to, you know, to get, because nobody else is going to roll against you. So good item, don't take it from this list because you're going to have to upgrade it anyways, which means you're going to have to go run the raids. Epic Helm of the Red Dragon. This item is exceptionally rare. Drops from the Von 6 Dragon raid in House Kundrak, and you know, it's not a bad item. I think a lot of people want this for the cosmetic. So if you really, really like the Helm cosmetic, and it's kind of cool looking, a lot of people like to match it up with the Red Dragon scale too, you know, because they go together. If you want it for the cosmetic, I mean, there are people that have farmed for years for this. I mean, I've heard people tell, you know, I'm trying to, you know, it took me 5 years to get my, you know, I've only pulled 2 in 6 years or whatever. So it really, really rare. If it drops, you're probably not going to get to roll on it. It doesn't drop from 20th lists. So again, if you really want the cosmetic, I would say this is a very valuable choice. One that you're you know, is very, very hard to get, you know, legitimately. The stats that it has on it, you know, they're decent, but you're probably, you know, only going to, you know, if you do wear it, you're only going to wear it for probably a few low epic levels. Alright, so that brings us to the final items on the list are all weapons from Caught in the Web, and they are nice weapons, but there is a big asterisk next to me saying that they're nice weapons. And really, you know, like, all these weapons have 4 upgrades to them. Okay? And you have to use commendations of heroism to upgrade them. And there are only 2 places in the game to get commendations of heroism from. Not commendations of valor, commendations of heroism. Okay? And I want to go over this briefly in case you're not familiar with this system. First, you have to have enough Purple Dragon Knight favor to unlock the vendor guy in Evening Star, so that he'll even talk to you to upgrade this stuff. And I can't. It might be 350. I don't know. I think it's a lot. And then you need 3 commendations of heroism to get tier 1 opened up, 5 more to get tier 2, 7 more to get tier 3, 10 to get tier 4. That's 25 commendations of heroism. They come from the Web Raid and they come from Fall of Truth. You are not guaranteed to get them in web, but you are from Fall of Truth. You get it's a much faster and easier farm to do them to get your combinations of heroism out of Fall of Truth. So, you know, personally, I would just say go run some web raids to get the base weapons here, and then go run some Fall of Truth to get your combinations of heroism. The only scenario in which I would say take one of these weapons is if you are absolutely dead set against running web, and you are willing to run Fall of Truth. Because, you know, without the upgrades, I just don't think these weapons are really that attractive. They are attractive with the upgrades, but you know, you're gonna have to grind out a bunch of commendations of valor or heroism, and you're gonna have to grind out your purple Dragon Knight favor. So there's a commitment. And, you know, like I said, I would probably, you know, unless you know, if you're not going to run the web raid, you're a more casual player, you just don't feel like you'll ever pull your Antipoet or your, you know, Celestia, you know, you could take it from here, but don't take it unless you're willing to get your PDK favor and your combinations of heroism to ultimately upgrade it. But here's the other thing about these weapons. Like, there was a time when these were endgame weapons, but they're not now. You know, they're level 23. I mean, heck, you can get Tier 2 Thunderforge at 24. Or Tier 1? Tier 1, yeah, and then Tier 2 at 26. So, I mean, definitely by 26, like, for a lot of these, you're going to get better stuff. So, I mean, you really need to think about the fact that this is just going to be, like, mid-epic level items for you. It's not endgame. Get it at 23. Maybe you're wearing it to 24, 25, 26-ish, 27. But, you know, I don't really feel like these are on the top of the list. You could make your own choice, obviously. Okay, well, that wraps it up, guys. This was a much longer video than I expected it to be. I hope that you found my little chat about each of these items to be helpful for you to make your choice. If you have any questions about this video or any of my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you're on Sarlona, you are welcome to send me a tell.